Welcome back to Keeping It Real. This is Ryan Leese, your host. This is episode number 7. We sat down with Ana Skarzynski, and she's going to share her story of how she went part-time to full-time, took the jump, and has been super successful.
All right.
Let's go.
Good morning or good afternoon if you're in Connecticut right now. I am with Ana Skarzynski, who is with William Pitt Sotheby's International Realty.
Yeah, so I went to college I got a degree in business, a psychology minor, and a concentration in marketing. All throughout college, I worked just part-time jobs. One of them was being a marketing coordinator for the dining services, which was a really nice job. And it just kind of taught me some basic marketing skills. And then another job that I did was for actually a realtor that is at the same company I'm at now. She needed a part-time marketing intern, and I actually knew her personally, so it worked out perfect. But she needed help with just some basic marketing. I would help her out, and then I saw just how what being a realtor even is, and it was really quite interesting. I mean, it was just amazing. She just was always busy, always doing something. And I also got to see how rewarding the job is. So that sort of made me want to get my license. So actually, while I was still in college, I got my real estate license. And in 2019, I became a realtor myself, and I've been by myself ever since. And I absolutely love it.
Nice. One of the statements you said in there was, like what it means to be a realtor and then how rewarding it is. So I think I kind of know what you mean by that, but is it like, what's your favorite part about, your job or your career?
Yes. So there's so much I love about it. One, I love how flexible it is. I've realized that I don't think I'm cut out to do a 9 to 5 job. Just not me. I love. It's for some people, but just for me, I always like doing something. I love being on the go, and then I also like having some downtime. So that's definitely one thing I love about it. Like I said before, I love how rewarding it is. It's such a big accomplishment that buying a house or even just getting a rental, all of the above. It's really rewarding being a part of that process and helping people. So I think those are the two reasons I really love it.
What's the that's awesome. So what is like because I know it's a very emotional experience, right? So um
Yeah.
what is your favorite, is it first time home buyers? Is it what's kind of your favorite? Maybe it's not one particular group, but um type of people to try to help get into a home.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an emotional roller coaster, any type of buyer I have. But, definitely first time home buyers, who is typically who I do work with. Um, it's just, like I said, very rewarding. It's like they're either just out of college or they're just, couples that are moving in together. It's just really like a nice, uh, I just love being a part of that. It just is, like I said, very it's just very satisfying, helping people get through it's an emotional process. So, it's I'm there to basically help people and, get them to the finish line. And I love that.
That's cool. That's awesome. So how did you get yourself, started? So I know you had a friend who offered some mentorship and showed you inside the business, but as you know, I mean, it's like your own business. You have to make your own name for yourself and everything. So how did you go from sort of like, zero to where you're at, now?
Yeah, so it wasn't easy. Like I said before, I had a lot of part-time jobs. It's a great career, but it's also an expensive career. A lot of people don't know like all the fees that come along with it just to even keep your license itself. There's dues, there's the license fee if you do continuing education. There's an MLS fee. I could go on. So it was definitely hard. So like I said, that's why I had multiple part-time jobs throughout the first couple of years. And that kind of helped me to, stay on my feet while also, slowly, building my database. So I've been pretty lucky, I would say. Just my age group in general, I'm going to be 27. This is a time where a lot of people, like we said before, are moving out. couples are getting places together, or, just, getting a rental to start, and then eventually, going to buy something. So between friends, family, and then really just referrals, I've been able to keep a pretty steady business. So I think that's helped the most. And then in downtime, I have been doing some expireds, which is basically reaching out to people, whose listing has expired, and, offering to set up a time to meet and figure out why it expired. And so I've had a couple deals, not too much, but every once in a while it'll pay off, and it works. So those seem to be, you know, how I build my business so far.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean the warm like referrals like we talked about is the best way because they know you, and then like I
Yeah.
think on the probably on the intro stuff it's like 90% nothing about real estate, and then
Yeah.
it's just building like you're just like talking with them about literally
Yeah.
anything, and
And they
then
trust you
then
too.
yeah, which is because your name, especially in a small town, it really
Yep.
matters. So it's like, oh, we know who you are, right? And boom, they're just gonna work with you. So on the ones that are expireds, do you feel like when you go to, I don't want to say sell yourself, but present yourself to the client, what do you have kind of a strategy that you lean on when you do that, or just you know just kind of introduce yourself and take them through like a process, for that?
Yeah. So I basically start with just sending them a letter in the mail. Um I kind of like doing personal letters first, and I don't like to push people. I know some people do their business differently, but I like to just very just send a letter. If they answer, great. If they don't, then it's just not, they just don't need me right now, and that's fine. But I send the letter first, and then if they call me, I'll set up a time to meet with them. I actually just recently closed on one where I sent the letter and he gave me a call, and we just closed a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
I
cool.
met up with him. Yeah, I tried to like I just try to be myself. I try to explain that communication is key, especially when selling a house. It's really just sometimes when a house doesn't sell, it's just because the communication's not there. So I always make sure that they know that they could call me just about anytime. They can. Uh, you know, I'm always here for them. And like I said, I'll do everything I can. And like I said, having my business and marketing background, I think that's helped me to really market houses and, get the word out. And I think I've been pretty successful with that so far.
Yeah, I think no, definitely, and the communication's big because it's
Yeah.
you have to set boundaries, like we've talked about, of like when you'll answer your phone. There's definitely got to have that, that balance, but at the same
Oh,
time,
yeah.
if people can text you, like I kind of have this thing where even if it's on a Sunday or Saturday, like I'm always either working, even if I'm out, I just will acknowledge that I've received it, right?
Right.
And people appreciate that because sometimes, as a seller, it might be something really important. They're like, hey, you know, we want to just, sometimes they just need feedback on
Oh, yeah.
something they already might know. It's sort of
Yeah.
just, you almost like train your clients in a way, um,
Yep.
as you go. That's awesome.
Definitely.
So you're, so I know you're 21, 2022 and 2023 have been kind of steady, which is awesome that you
Yep.
shared that with me before because a lot of people got to 2023 and the interest rates came up and they were like, whoa, what is this? Where did everyone go? And so you've stayed super steady. Do you have, do you want to expand any of your marketing efforts that you're now, or you're kind of just focusing on your database and then doing some expired, and that's keeping you? Sounds like it's keeping you busy, plenty busy. So
Yeah, well, that, and also when times were sort of rough and everyone was getting very stressed out with the rates. Some agents I realized don't do rentals, and I just want to say that I am an agent that does do rentals, and I think it's really, it's I think really beneficial too, because even though it's just a rental now, it can turn into, you just keep in touch with them over time, and then they come back to you, and then they want, you're able to continue business with them. So during those times, I had some clients who were buying, and then they just got very overwhelmed with the rates, and they just, want to find a rental or another rental if they were already in one. And I help them with that. And then, they know that they could contact me in the future. And actually, currently, I do have a couple people that I did help find rentals, and then they reached back out to me, and they're like, we're ready, even though the rates
Yeah.
aren't still right where they want to be. They're getting better slowly but surely. So it seems like they're, starting the process again. So I think, like I said, doing the rentals has helped me to still kind of stay steady.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I can relate this, doing mortgages is it's literally just to get in front of people. Like you just want to go meet people. And
Yep.
if they're at the, they decide to rent, you don't have the short-sighted mindset. You're like, oh, they don't want to buy. Like, I'm not going to help them. It's
Right.
like you still help them get into a home, and maybe they never do buy, but in like 5 years, they
Right.
might think, oh, you know what, my like cousin wants to move to Guilford. Here's Anna's number, boom, and then that's like where you start to get that snowball effect of your business. That's gonna just
Yeah. And it's happened
probably in like
multiple
three,
times.
yeah, like for you, like in 3 years from now, you just everything you're doing now is gonna like hit almost exponentially then. So it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
So any kind of transitioning like personal, you know, I know in high school for me, I did not understand real estate. I just saw I shared this with you, but I was like, oh, why would you want to do that? I didn't understand till I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I think when I was 18, 19.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was like, starting to understand equity and how to leverage debt and all these different things. So do you do any, personal investing on your own? And do you plan to, you know, kind of get into that as you grow your career?
Yeah, so same here in high school. I feel like I just didn't really know the importance of it. I think between college and then, doing the part-time jobs I, did, and then also again being a marketing intern for a realtor helped me to really get into the to like an inside view of really what I could be doing. So I think that's sort of what helped me. And yes, I actually own a rental unit. I lived there for a little bit, and now I actually rent it out to a. She's a PA from Yale. She's great. It's just a one bedroom, one bath. I bought it completely renovated, so I didn't have to put any money into it. And so far, haven't. I've owned it for a little over 4 years now. So that's going great, making a profit on that. And then currently I'm in what will be another investment property one day, doing a couple of things to fix it up and then going to rent it out. And then eventually, just those incomes from those two rental properties is what's going to pay my mortgage on a house one day. So, it's sort of nice to have that, that steady income, and in the long run will pay off.
That's awesome. And do you do like any, like, I don't want to say like YouTube University in terms of, I mean, there's so much content out there on YouTube and Instagram and podcasts. So do you have something that you follow that you're like, oh, this is my, I know there's like Dave Ramsey, who's not necessarily, I like him, but anyways, like there's a lot of figures out there in that space. So is there someone that you look up to? You're like, I kind of study them in a way.
Yeah, so no one specifically, but recently I just found out about a podcast. It's two women there. It's called like Socially Modern or something like that. But basically they've built their business just on social media, because nowadays, like social media is huge, and that's really how we get, or I get the word out about, listings or just whatever it might be. So I've actually recently just started listening to them, and they just give some tips and different ideas, and I think I'll definitely be able to use a lot of what they have been telling, saying, because it's really, I think, beneficial.
That's awesome. And do you,
Yeah.
so I guess that transitions into like, do you uh, use social media to get leads? And do you want to, I know it takes a lot of time. So that's the biggest thing I hear. People want to do it, but is it something that you want to, work on and try to make that like a lead generation source for you?
Yeah, so I, believe it or not, too, I think that's a big platform that I get a lot of leads from. Even if I just post something, I try to not only post social media, or excuse me, real estate, because that could get sort of boring. So I do try to post more. some personal things, some just funny things if I see something on, at a showing, some really cool things like if there's like a antique or whatever it might be. I just try to post other things too, and it's really crazy how many like people will like swipe up, or they'll message me and they'll be like, "Oh, so cool." Just the conversations, just starting, and it's just like one thing leads to another, and then like I said, I've actually gotten some leads that way. You just kind of start talking, and then they're like, "Oh, maybe in the future, I want to start, either investing or buy something of my own." So it's really just getting that conversation started, and it's kind of natural. Like I don't mean for it to happen. It just sort of happens, and it's sometimes too, it's people that I went to school with in the past. But I do find posting not only real estate has sort of helped.
Yeah, I think that's the best way because you're almost like how I would compare it with someone is like think about I guess yourself or our age group, right? You go on Zillow, right, or you're on these
Hmm.
one of these sites, and like we really don't. At least for me, like I hate filling out those lead generation forms where it's like put your
Hmm.
information and contact me. I have one on my website, so if no one fills it out, I'm not offended.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
versus they like see your Instagram or they know you're a realtor, but it's your posts aren't you know here's how here's what a purchase contract is, right? It's good to like mix some education stuff in there,
Yeah.
but then if
Yep.
it's you at the I'm trying to think of something in Guilford, but like or the Biggie or just some event or like the brewery or something, and then someone swipes up and they're like, oh, I love that brewery or that place or whatever, and you're just meeting like making a connection with someone
Yep.
without the intention of going to sale, it more likely will because they'll remember it versus like just hammering someone with like an automated email system that
Yeah.
that went through on your website. So it's cool.
Yeah, I realize that makes some people uncomfortable. Like some people say, "Oh, every realtor, that's all they talk about is real estate." But I try to make it a point not to, because it is. I mean, it could consume your life, but you don't, not everyone wants to talk about work. I mean, obviously, if people have questions, we'll talk about it. We'll get in conversations, but I don't like to always just be talking about it, or always, I don't even like doing that. So I can't imagine what
Yeah,
other people think. So,
yeah, yeah. Most people just want to build a like a rapport. There's different levels of like how people sell, but
yep.
you still there's definitely points where you're working with buyers or something where you want to still have probably a sales process and then close somebody in terms of hey, we've seen these houses, you want to make
Hmm.
a decision, but at the end of the day, if you build like a really good relationship with people, you can they'll tell most of those just it's takes the sales the best salespeople you don't know are selling. That someone told me
Yeah.
that. Oh, that makes sense.
No,
It's very
definitely. I
true.
see that, like, yeah, more, now that I'm in the business, I definitely see that. Which is, like I said, I make the point not to do certain things now because I see it within other agents or other people, and I'm just like, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah. Well, it's good. Yeah. Yeah. And you're yourself, which is important.
Yes, that's definitely important.
So your goals, just kind of, uh, I guess, well, before that, how do you stay like locked in? Because I know uh, the week can like totally, at least for me, the week can, when you set your own hours, you have to be super disciplined. So do you have a method to time blocking and how you kind of schedule your life?
Yeah, so I use my phone calendar religiously. Like I even put the most crazy reminders, even if it's something as simple as watering my plants. Like it sounds crazy, but I need to, like, the time blocking is huge. Just because one day could be totally crazy, another day could be totally not crazy, and then I need to find something to do, or there's something I could be doing. So I use my phone calendar for everything. I put in just day to day what I need to do, what I could do if I have some downtime. And then if I have downtime and I could have downtime, then, I make sure that I, take advantage of that, and I, relax or enjoy the day, or, whatever I need to do.
Cool.
So it's
Yep.
important.
And then your goals, like, I guess last question I have for you, and if there's anything you want to share after, but your goal, what was your goal, you know, coming into the business, and you feel like you've kind of hit those goals?
Yeah, so my goal was to be a full-time realtor, and I have officially between the last year have, last year and this year have successfully done that. It's hard to completely transfer into being a full-time realtor because, as we talked about before, like the fees and just everything that goes into it, you definitely have to have a steady income to survive. So I definitely was able to do that. So I have reached my goal. There's, tons of other goals that I do want to, I do want to become, I want to grow my business, but I also want to, still make sure that I have enough time to enjoy, life and, kind of have a steady business, yet also enjoy everything I can.
Okay. And do you feel like you're at that at that point now, or there's a forward, you know, point you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm definitely steady and I'm still able to do all my own paperwork, all my, all my own files. I manage them all. I know if I do get any busier, I will probably have to try to get someone in place to do that, which I really don't want to do because I kind of do like being in charge of, everything that I'm working on and doing all the paperwork. But so right now, I would say I'm happy where I am, but I mean, there's always room for improvement, and I know over time I'll want to grow, and who knows where it'll take me. I'm definitely want to stay where I am. I love my brokerage, all the opportunities it's given me, but you never know what's going to happen, years to come if I want to get my broker's license. But definitely, right now, I'm super happy where I am in my business.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's the best. A lot of people have these. They always want to be. It's like anything in life. You always want to be somewhere else. So if you're in a spot where it's like this is working, and you can always improve. But if you, it's Alex Hormozy is someone I listen to a lot. He says, more, better, new, right? So if you've done more, which you have, you went full time, then it's,
Yeah,
now you're on the better. It's like how to just make it better, more efficient. And then when you're ready to train someone, you'll have the paper, whatever, you'll know exactly how it needs to be done. So they say, hey,
definitely.
this is how you do it. So
Yep,
awesome.
exactly.
Anything that you want to share that we kind of didn't get into, or?
So I guess the main thing, and I'm sure you can agree, is just like education. I know like our jobs, it's like super important for us to just educate our clients. I can't even tell you the amount of times I've had, clients who are just looking for a rental and they're like, I would just kind of bring up the subject of possibly buying now or in the near future. And they're like, oh, well, I don't have 30% to put down. And I'm just like, where are you getting this information from? Because, I'm sure you get it all the time too. It's just, I don't think people are educated in this department where they need to be. And they'll realize that they'll actually be saving money instead of, having their land, like some people will actually be able to put down less than what their landlord's holding as a security
Yeah.
deposit. And it's crazy to me. So that's definitely important. I'm sure you can agree.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. And, there's options, for like putting, there's obviously FHA, but even for conventional, I mean, you can put 5, 10% down, which is huge. And you could do, you know, low down payments. And then also, we had talked about like seller concessions. So you can finance like the closing costs because that's something people, you know, might not have the funds for or don't want to pay for. So you can do like on a, I'm going to literally read it off the sheet because I couldn't memorize all this, but the,
Yeah.
like if it's a primary and you put down, 75 to, 90%. So if you put 10%, the seller can actually give you 6%, towards your closing costs. So you could make an offer. This is something you can work with buyers and maybe you have, but you can almost offer higher, but in the contract say we want, 6%
Yep.
seller concessions. And that's how we get around, you know, finance. We pretty much finance the closing costs into it, doing
Oh
that.
yeah.
So
I've had a lot of success with that. So, and people, my clients are like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that that was, an option." And I love being able to tell them that and, connecting them with a lender to, give them even more information. And they're like, "Wow, this is not what I expected." So it's definitely another satisfying thing in
yeah,
this
it is.
in this
It's very
business.
rewarding. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
someone that just yesterday was like, I don't think I can buy a house, and they I just said, okay, I won't waste your time with giving you a bunch of paperwork. Just show me what you've got. And they showed me everything. And
Yeah.
I was like, you can put this amount down, and this is how much you make. And they're like, really? Like they're just like, they're like Google said,
Mind
they looked
blown.
up
Yeah.
something, and I'm like, yeah. And they were so. I tried for like 2 months to get them on the phone. Just like every week, I just like, hey, just let me, just kind of following up. And finally, they're like, fine, let's do it. But they were nervous because they didn't think they would qualify.
Right.
So that's I think that's something you probably deal with too. People just don't want to even try because they don't even kind of ask
They
for
just
a while.
don't know or ask. Yeah, like I said, I have had a lot of luck with like I said, the rentals, and I would just meet someone at a rental, and we would just they had good credit, they had good income, and even if they didn't, we would still get in the conversation, and then I would just sort of start talking to them, and kind of see that they probably could qualify for a loan, and I just give them some just general information, and they're like, oh my gosh. So I actually had a couple where they were looking for a rental. They ended up buying a house, closing, and they think they spent less money, on their mortgage now than they did what they would have spent for their security deposit and their rent. So they were like, very very happy. So that was
That's
great.
awesome. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rewarding because then someone's like
Oh yeah.
in the wheel of renting, and they're like, okay, let's
Yeah.
go again. Yeah,
And they didn't even know that they could, be approved. That's the part that gets me.
yeah, and most of them, and it's usually the people that don't think they can get approved. I don't, want to say always, but most of the time they actually can. It's
Yeah.
usually the opposite. The ones that tell me at least like this will be no problem, and then they send me everything, and I'm like, we're gonna have to come up with a
Yep.
plan. To sometimes I work with people and they want to buy, and then hey, we got to pay off like your car, and we got to pay off these couple things, and that will increase your buying power exponentially. And
Yeah.
it's just having a plan. So
Yeah. Definitely. It's all education, I see. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this today.
yeah.
Is and yeah, is there anything else or missed
That's it.
on?
No, that's really it. I appreciate you, reaching out to me, and this has been great. Hopefully we could, spread the word together on certain things, and people can realize, that they have a lot more options out there. So,
Definitely, yeah. And what's the for anyone who's listening, if they're in Connecticut, what's the best way for them to contact you? I could put your info in the description, but
yeah, I could also send you my website. They can go to my website, or, they could call me anytime. I'm sure you can put my phone number too. I'm always typically on my phone, so anytime, feel free to call. Happy to give you some, information and just explore your options.
awesome. All right, Anna, thank you so much for doing this today.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Hey, all, thanks for tuning in to episode number 7 with Ana Skarzynski. Feel free to reach out to her in the bio below. Her contact info is there. And again, thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time.